Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Your Arms to Israel International Ministries and our studio. It's wonderful to have you with us this week, ready to join us in the Nazarene Yisraelite truth of the latter-day gathering and restoration of both houses of Yisrael. There really is no other message in Scripture. It is a message of Yahshua gathering the nations, turning them from the ways of their pagan ancestors, leaving their Western Gentile mindset behind, because it is written in Yirmiyahu chapter 16 that in the latter days all men will come from the ends of the earth, saying, truly we have inherited only lies, only vanity, and only falsehood. And in the latter days men will acknowledge their pagan foundation and will say, in that day, Jeremiah 16, Yirmiyahu says that they shall know, the nations, they shall know that I am Yahweh Elohim. And so that's what we're all about, this Your Arms to Israel International Ministries Shabbat Video Club. We're honored to have you with us. We're honored that you've taken the time to be with us. And please feel free to share these wonderful messages that are anointed and pinpointedly, accurately guided by the Ruach HaKodesh. And as you stay with us through the months and through the weeks, you will see your most kadosh emunah, faith, being built up in the truth of the commonwealth. That's right, the commonwealth of Israel. Yahweh wants you and I to be equal heirs, equal partakers, equal citizens, drinking of that same commonwealth, because Yeshua is king of Yisrael, and certainly not of a separate non-Yisraelite entity. And so sit back and again, make yourselves at home and be comfortable with us, and we'll go right now, immediately, into today's special Shabbat service. Shabbat Shalom.
Who has gone up to heaven and come down? Yeshua. Who has gathered the wind in the palm of his hand? Yeshua. Who has wrapped up the waters in his hand? Yeshua. Who is the creator of all the heavens and what is his name?
What is his name?
And the
name of his son. Tell me if you know.
Israel. and who has wrapped up the waters in his clothes, who is the creator of all the heavens and earth. What is his name and the name of his son? Tell me if you know. Baruch haba B'Shem Yahweh. Baruch haba B'Shem Yahweh. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. Yeshua.
In Yeshua's name. Amen. 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 Would you like to hear the word?
Yeah.
Or would you like to go home now?
No.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. I've entitled this afternoon's message, Preaching for a Short Time, A Place of Caves. A Place of Caves. Turn with me please to Bamidbar, chapter number 12. Bamidbar, chapter number 12. When you teach on this issue, bigotry, racism, lack of love and tolerance for other races, everybody tends to get a little bit upset, a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious, because we've all had to struggle with issues in society, in life, at work, at home, worst of all, in our hearts,
Yeah.
when it comes
That's right.
to bigotry
Most of all.
and to racism and to prejudice. But guess what? If that's been your struggle over the years, that's okay, because our people have always struggled with racism.
Yeah.
It's an Israelite thing, as we see in this week's Torah Parsha, to struggle with racism
Yeah.
and bigotry, any form of bigotry, but especially one based on skin color or any other criteria. Just general bigotry in general. We don't have that problem here in the Miami Beach Israel Revival.
Amen.
People have come here from a minority, so to speak, so-called minorities, are very surprised to find out that we really don't have that problem. And one of the reasons we don't have that problem is we don't allow that problem to live, to grow. We don't put up with it, because there's no room for it in Israel. We're going to learn a lot today. We're going to come to a lot of understanding today. That's why I've entitled this message, Preaching for a Few Hours, A Place of Caves. First of all, I want to tell you a little bit about the life of Moshe that most of us don't know about. Okay, I know you know everything about the life of Moses, but in case you don't, if you'd allow me to tell you, I will. I feel sorry for all those guys in the back having snacks. They're going to miss this. Now, in Sefer Yashar, the book of the upright, Sefer Yashar, in chapters 73, verse 31, it tells us, and I believe Yashar should be in Scripture, or at least it is a very reliable historical record. As we've seen, it's mentioned how many times in the Bible? Sefer Yashar? 4 times. In chapter 73, verse 31, we see that Moshe, and throughout the book of Yashar, even earlier, that Moshe became Melech of Cush. Moses was 18 years old when he smote the Egyptian and left Mitzrayim. We know that from the Sefer Yashar. We know that, what we don't know is we think he ran to Midian, showed up at Yitro's home, married Zipporah, and the rest is history. Wrong. All those years, from the time he fled Mitzrayim till the time he was called at the age of 40, all those years were missing. Just like the life of Yeshua, we have missing years. In Sefer Yashar it tells us that Moshe became a king over Cush. Cush is also known as Ethiopia. Where's Ethiopia? In northern Africa. Northern Africa. So Moshe fled to the land of Cush to become a king, a melech. And there was a queen by the name of Adoniah, if you're taking notes. There was a queen by the name of Adoniah. And Adoniah was the wife queen, or the queen wife, of the melech, or the king of Cush. To make a long story short, he was not a very successful king, and he didn't do very well in battle. And the people rose up and they overthrew the melech of Ethiopia. And who do you think they asked to become king in his stead? Moshe Rabbeinu began to be king over Cush, or Ethiopia. Okay, now in those days and even today, what are you doing? Well, my Tums. In those days, even today, we don't find a lot of white folks in Ethiopia, do we? Not as residents. Okay, unless they're there to do the work of Yahweh or whatever reason, government business. But primarily it is not a Caucasian country or a Caucasian nationality. So Moshe took over to rule over the people of Cush, because that was Yahweh's way of training him for the ministry that he would be sent to do before taking the people of Israel out of Mitzrayim. So when the people had him to be king, the wife, Adoniah, deserted the king, and it is said that she basically threw herself at Moshe in the book of Yashar, saying, I'm the queen, deal with me. You love me, you don't love me, you like the way I looks, you don't like the way I looks, I can care less. I'm the queen, you're now the king, let's get together. Sefer Yashar tells us that Moshe resisted her advances for 40 years. Some of us can't resist sexual temptation for 40 seconds. Moshe resisted for 40 years. Like Yosef, who every time, and by the way, the book of Yashar is very detailed when it comes to the life of Yosef. Potiphar's wife didn't just make advances. She chased that poor boy every day after day after day after day.
Persistent.
So Moshe was the same way, and at the end of 40 years, finally, what do you think Adoniah did? She gave up. She goes, this bum is not going to ever come into my chambers. As in chambre, in French. So at that point, she did what all good heathen wives do. And she requested a divorce and turned against Moshe, melech of Cush. What is the Hebrew word today for a person of color?
Cushi.
Cushi. Cush. Ethiopian. To this day, Cush. Now you see, we don't really get uptight talking about race here because you don't have a problem. And if we do find out that you're a bigot, we'll confront you and then we'll ask you to leave if you don't repent. So we really don't have much of a problem with bigotry. And there's one thing Moshe's been accused of is loving black folks, and I love black folks. I would hope they like white folks. I would hope, because then if they don't, I'm in a lot of trouble. So, notwithstanding that little sidetrack, Moshe did not acquiesce to Adoniah, the Ethiopian queen, who he inherited as part of his kingship. She then turned the people of Cush against Moshe, and the people overthrew him in the same manner in which they installed him. How long did he reign in Cush?
You said 40 years.
From the age of 18 till the age of 36, when he went to Yitro, and 4 years later he was called to Mitzrayim.
18 years.
He was a young monarch. Where do you think Moshe got all those leadership skills to lead the children of Israel out of Mitzrayim? He got it from ruling and reigning already as a king. Now, if you say, well, I don't believe that, that's an extra biblical source, you have a right to be wrong. There's no problem. Because the book of Yashar is quoted 4 times in Scripture. Joshua 10:13, 2 Samuel Shmuel 1:18, 2 Timotheus 3:8, Jannes and Jambres withstood Moshe, and Revelation chapter 7. You get the series on Sefer Yashar.
Yeah.
So we know Sefer Yashar is a very accurate historical book. She then turned the people of Cush against Moshe when he would not acquiesce to her advances to be a real husband. And Moshe fled the people of Ethiopia, Cush, and came to Yitro, came to Jethro. Okay? And we all got our numbers wrong, so please don't carry me away wrong. Okay? He was called at the age of 80. Where do we get 40 from? But when, huh? Yeah, but I don't want to get into numbers. At what age was he called to go back into Egypt? Correct. When he was called to go back into Egypt, he was 80 years old, not 40. Okay, he was running from his life. He wasn't called. When he was 40, he was running from his life. So we got our numbers wrong. Well, let's correct that. He was 66 when he came to Yitro. So he was reigning in Cush for an awfully long time. 40 years at least. 30, at least 30. 36 to 66. And then accordingly he came to Yitro and then went to Mitzrayim at the age of? Okay, that's more like it. But the point being that Moshe, was Moshe a person of color? Like most Sabras today. Like most Sabras today. He wasn't white. He wasn't white. He wasn't black. He was a person like a Sabra. A person of darker skin color. But Adoniah, the queen of Cush, do you think she was a white woman or a black woman?
Probably a black
Would you like to pray about it? The queen of Ethiopia was dark skinned. She was a woman of color. So Moses already had this, this penchant for knowing how to cultivate relationships with women that may have been of a different color.
Okay.
Hello? So it seems like he has experience with women who are not the same color, but that experience causes him continual problems. Does that surprise us with the bigotry and racism in the world today?
No.
Nothing's changed. But now we're going to get Yahweh's spin on this.
All right.
This is a spin zone, okay?
Come on.
This is not the O'Reilly factor. This is a spin zone. Now we're going to get Yahweh's spin on bigotry and racism. Well, Rabbi, I reject that. I want you to know I've been a Baptisto, Methodisto for 99 years, and we just love everybody. Really? So how come there are white churches, black churches, Chinese churches, Korean churches, Spanish churches? Where is the mixed multitude that went out of Mitzrayim? Where are they?
Come on.
You'll find them at Checkers, and you'll find them at Dunkin' Donuts. But you won't find them in the services. If we are really preaching the good news to all people, you would expect to find a sample representation of all races, all nationalities, and all mixtures.
Amen.
Come on.
Tony Evans said that 11 o'clock on Sunday morning is the most segregated hour in America.
That's right.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Hashem Yahweh.
Now, we see Moshe from Sefer Yashar as a young man, fleeing Mitzrayim from the age of 18, fleeing Cush at the age of 66 due to a coup d'etat or an overthrow of the government, having resisted the advances of Adoniah, the Ethiopian queen, and he had experiences with a wife who was a person of color. Now let's go back to Bamidbar 12. Bamidbar 12. And what was the reason he had these problems? Because the people of Cush said, he's not one of us. Look, he doesn't look like us. Hello? And when he refused her advances, what did she do? She convinced the people to overthrow Moshe, Just like the people installed Moshe and overthrew the king who was not succeeding militarily. You could read about it in Sefer Yashar. Moshe didn't look like the Ethiopians. Now he takes a new wife. Who's the new wife? Zipporah. And she doesn't look like some of the Israelites. So he's dealt with this before. I don't look like them. She doesn't look like them. Are we on? I just love my white Caucasian Jewish brothers and sisters. How can he be Jewish? What, are you kidding me? How ignorant are you? Slightly, heavily, or moderately? The people of Israel were always a mixed multitude.
Amen.
Joseph's wife was a Hamite. As such, Ephraim and Manasseh were black.
Check that out.
Because Joseph's wife was a Hamite, not a Shemite.
Come on.
So that, what happened to Ephraim's seed? They will become a Melo HaGoyim, or a fullness of Gentiles. So that most people of color today that have filled the nations have Israelite blood. But when you ask an average white Jewish Caucasian from Europe how the black people or people of color can be Israelites, you might as well put them on, what is that game show with Monty Hall? You know?
Let's make a deal.
Let's make a deal. What are you talking about? Black Jews? It's crazy. Nobody ever heard of black Jews.
Come on.
You may not have heard about it because you've been lied to by the father of lies.
That's right.
Okay? The people of Israel were always a mixed multitude.
Amen.
Let's continue. So now, in today's Torah Parsha, Moshe was rejected because he was not the right skin color from being Melech of Cush, because he was not a Cushite. Hello? What was Moshe? What was Moshe? Moshe was a Shemite. He was not a Cushite. But he was rejected by the Cushites because he didn't look like them. So Moshe knew what it means to struggle in that kind of relationship.
Come on.
Not to be accepted because he didn't look like them. Now, he didn't look like them, so he was rejected. His wife turned against him. And now, his second wife, also, we have problems here as well. Okay, let's continue. And Miriam and Aharon spoke against Moshe. Notice.
Because.
Well, who did they speak against? The Ethiopian woman? No, they spoke against Moshe. So Moshe had training as the Melech of Cush for racial bigotry and prejudice. He was able to take this and deal with it and move on and oversee and lead and continue to succeed in his ministry, knowing that if he was walking in the truth of Yahweh, he would encounter racial bigotry. He was in a mixed relationship, a mixed couple. And what the devil does is it tells you, well, Yahweh's going to close a lot of doors. No, Yahweh's not going to close any doors. Mankind will close the door, and Yahweh will kick it open. Yeah, there'll be some man's doors that'll close, but Yahweh will kick open the doors he wants.
Amen.
But notice they came against Moshe again, but he was trained to absorb racial bigotry by being the Melech of Cush. He takes another Ethiopian woman whom he had married, notice, for he had married an Ethiopian woman. Okay. Now, no one is 100% sure. Stay tuned. Was this Zipporah? I don't know. Some experts say yes. Some experts say no. Do you understand? There's a confusion here. Who was Zipporah? She was a daughter of Yitro, the Kohen of Midian, or modern-day Saudi Arabia. Okay. Was he Ethiopian? Well, I'm not sure. Because where was Jethro originally, according to Sefer Yashar? Jethro was serving Pharaoh in Pharaoh's court. And he went out with Israel in the Exodus. Okay? So Jethro could have been Ethiopian, and his daughters obviously could have been Ethiopian, but they settled in Midian, in modern day what? Saudi Arabia. We don't know. Some rabbis say no, this was another Ethiopian woman. This would be Moshe's second Ethiopian woman, and then later he married Zipporah. Other rabbis say no, this Ethiopian woman of color is Zipporah. So the jury is out. We're not sure. What we are sure was Moshe liked women of color. That we're sure about.
Good old
Excuse me, Moshe is not Simon and Garfunkel. Moshe is the one who wrote the Torah. And he saw no problem with mixed, so-called mixed. It's not really mixed, it's just different skin color. The only folks that are mixed are people in the world who don't understand the truth.
Amen.
Those are the folks who are mixed, like mixed up in the head. All right? You got mixed up heads, not mixed up races. And before I move on, we know that the entire human family came out of Tevat Noah. The entire human family marched out of Tevat Noah, his wife, and the 8 folks on board. If all nationalities and all races, yellow, black, white, came from Noah and Mrs. Noah, now let's figure this one out. This is real hard. If all races and nationalities and colors came from Noah and Mrs. Noah, one of those two had to be a person of color. Because you don't get a person of color from 2 Caucasians hooking up.
That's right. Don't work there.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So, but that didn't stop his sister Miriam and his brother Aharon from rising up in rebellion against Moshe because of the Ethiopian woman he had married. We're